there's exercises that you can do, and what people do to get stronger is they'll add weight to that exercise. But in reality, what they might need to do is position themselves in a better spot so they can actually get more out of the exercise. And one of the exercises we do in our gym is a crossover deadlift. And so what that is the weight is going to be at a dead stop on one side of your body, emphasized to one side of your body. So this definitely has to deal with some mobility. If you can't get to that spot and you're not strong in that spot, you're going to have to move the weight a little closer to the midline. But here's how that exercise should be executed. I'm going to go over to that off side, so that opposite side, and I'm going to load that hip and that glute and that leg. And I'm going to reach across to go grab that weight from a dead stop and then lift that up to end up outside on my body here. So what generally happens is people will see that weight and innately they'll do this. They'll go here and they'll grab that weight and they'll bring it up, which by itself is not a terrible execution of the movement, right? And then they'll reach and they'll go across and they'll bring it back. And that's fine. But if you watch this, let's look at this knee through the femur into that hip. So if I go over here, right, there's nothing wrong with that. But in reality, I'm losing a lot of what I could be getting out of that movement from a muscular perspective. From a movement perspective, it's great, right? But from a muscular perspective, if I want to load that glute, I've got to pay attention to how I am on this leg, right? And so I've got to sit and load that leg. And what I'm going to do is try to figure out how to get off of this foot. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to bias here, but what it does mean is I want to sit and load this leg as much as I can and then reach across, keep my upper body up so I can load this glute even more. And then I grab that from a dead stop and then drive up through that glute. And as I drive up through that glute, I want to see if I can go light pressure on this leg and that foot. I keep this knee out, like kind of in line with my hip. And then I've loaded that guy up, and then getting across really actually turns into more and more and more load into that glute. So not only am I working thoracic rotation and getting pretty healthy in the spine, but I'm really loading that glute and asking the muscles to do a job that in this position, they're not necessarily doing. I'm getting hip flexion and hip extension, but in reality, I'm losing a lot of what I could be getting out of the move because I haven't positioned myself into a way to be successful with it. Now, what will happen is people will execute that move and they'll go, is that light? Should I go heavier? And if you just want to do the move to do the move, you can go heavier. But in reality, maybe you might need to go lighter to get stronger in that move, right? So if I can't load this, reach and pick that up and keep the load on that glute and then drive up and in to continuously ask that to do the job, I might have to go lighter, or I might have to move that in a little further and use less rotation to understand the movement and to make my muscles understand the movement so they adapt and get stronger. I'm leaving a lot on the table, again, when I don't really pay attention to what I'm doing as far as a movement goes. All right, so keep that in mind when you do exercises. Am I doing this the best way possible to get results from it? Or am I doing it so I can load more weight on to say I'm getting stronger, but in reality, I'm not doing the movement well, so I'm probably not getting as strong as I think I am.